My name is Gabrielle Gonzalez. I'm 19 and I'm from Houston, Texas. I come from a family of five: my mom, my dad, my older sister, and my younger sister. At home, we all speak English. We all identify ourselves as Hispanic or Mexican American. Being Hispanic has a very special meaning to me because I grew up in a primarily white neighborhood, went to a primarily white school, so expressing my culture wasn't really something that was common. The majority of my friends were actually white, so I never really had a cultural influence within school. Most of the influence I would have was through my extended family or our babysitter. She was an older woman straight from Mexico who only spoke Spanish, um, and her culture and values were definitely traditional Mexican. With that, we definitely lived much different lifestyles. She had a much larger family with multiple grandchildren and children. Her family was lower income, um, and mine was a lot more fortunate. She definitely never singled us out for that, though. She made us feel as if we were part of her family, and we definitely included her in a lot of our traditions and family activities. She did the same a lot of the time with us. She would bring her grandchildren over, and it kind of gave us that sense of like a big traditional Mexican family that we didn't really have. My family is it's an average size. My dad has two siblings and my mom has three siblings. Most of them only have children who are around the 20s. So growing up, I didn't really have like the whole younger cousin kind of thing. Everyone was kind of older, and I was mostly the baby for the longest time, along with my little sister. So having a bunch of cousins to run around and play with wasn't something that we had, but whenever she brought her family over, it's kind of like we had that traditional sense. So, since she was mostly my cultural influence, my moral and value influence, I think, would have to be my dad. Growing up, he really taught me the value of hard work and following through with everything you do and putting your mind to everything and trying your best. He had big dreams. He started at the bottom of where he works now, and now he's at the very top. He's very fortunate, and we're very blessed. And he's a big inspiration, and he really makes me think that I can do anything I put my mind to. To this day, I strive to be the best that I can be, and because of him, it's because he has taught me that I should be the best for myself. Um, but making him proud is definitely a plus. The relationship I have with my mom is pretty similar. Um, we're pretty close, so I consider her more of a sister. We have a very similar personality, so we do bump heads a lot. Um, but at the end of the day, she was more of the nurturer, and she was always more understanding. My dad, he was a little more strict, but I think his expectations were just really high. Growing up, my parents always really pushed upon us that family is a priority. Um, it was something we always enjoyed doing, though. I think the most fun I have is when I am with my family. As a family, we do a lot of the traditional things such as Christmas, Easter, family vacations are a huge thing. We try to do at least two. My dad is definitely raising his kids a lot differently than his siblings are. His siblings aren't really enforcing the whole college path. They're mostly doing straight into the career or into our family business. Receiving a higher education was really the expectation for me and my older sister. We currently live together, and she is the person I chose to interview for the second half of my Funds of Knowledge project. What is your name?
Marletta Gonzalez.
What is your preferred name?
Marla.
How old are you and where are you from?
I'm 21 and I'm from Houston, Texas.
Tell me about your family.
My family's pretty big, very close knit. We always talk to each other all the time. We spend every holiday together. family dinners every night, things like that.
What is the biggest value your family has instilled upon you?
I would say our closeness, our relationships with each other, just the idea of a family.
What is your ethnicity?
Hispanic.
Growing up, did your parents' culture impact your views in any way?
No, I didn't really have a good idea of like how different our culture was until I was older and started taking Mexican American studies classes.
What is the biggest advantage and disadvantage you associate your identity with?
I would say the advantage is the fact that we live in Texas and the fact that I'm going to school in San Antonio and the fact that Texas has such a huge Hispanic population that speaking Spanish was something I learned from my family and growing up, and I could use it in jobs. And disadvantage, I haven't really come across any yet.
Do you think in your personal future occupation, your culture and identity will help you succeed?
For sure, especially with being bilingual and the population and demographics of this state.
What role do school and or work play in your life?
School and work are a pretty big part of my life because I'm in school to work for the rest of my life. So I know that I'm doing it for my own future and for my own success.
What do you typically do when you aren't doing school or work?
Hanging out with friends or family.
When you achieve something big, who is generally the first person you tell?
My dad.
My sister and I are very close. We're only 2 years apart in age. For the most part, we share the same values, same interests. We both see our dad as kind of our hero in a way. We look up to him the most. Even though my sister and I are both so close in age and we really share the same experiences, I think she's more in tune with the Hispanic culture. I think this has to do mostly with education. She caught on to Spanish a lot easier than I did from our nanny, and then even through high school, she took more Spanish classes, and in college, she is actually minoring in Mexican American studies. This interviewing experience was actually pretty interesting because I feel like as a family, you never really sit down and you talk about your values, and it's really cool just to think that there's certain things from our childhood that really stand out the most to us and that had a bigger impact on us than we actually thought it would. I think in general, moving to San Antonio has been an eye-opening experience. I think culturally and emotionally, it was hard to leave my family, but San Antonio is a city where I just feel really comfortable because I think a lot of people here, we share the same backgrounds and morals and values. This class has really been an eye-opener in helping me pick out and express my identities. I can't wait to do it more for the rest of the semester and all throughout my years here at UTSA.